no starters for Carolina. We know that. The Steelers, the team that David Tepper used to own, they're going to get in some of their starters. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. That means Rico Dowdle will have another opportunity to run wild. And this week, he'll have an extra incentive to do so, as he is taking on his old team. Well, one of the keys for Carolina today is getting big plays. Only one place where that can happen. That's on the field, and that is where we find our own Joey Ellis. The first time since 2019 the Panthers go into a combine with the same head coach, the same GM, and the same quarterback. How nice is having that stability to build off of going into year two for you? Ladies and gentlemen, there is money to be made this offseason here in Carolina. Someone's going to get it. Question is who. But as far as we go, we bring the magic every week. Sure. That is a guarantee. We've got 2 exclusive interviews you're not going to find anywhere else. They've had 3 or more sacks. So, Bryce Young, I'm looking at you right now. Brace yourself. The pressure is coming. Football field, 160 feet wide. In 6 seconds, Scorton turned on a dime, came back the other way, and was able to force him out. If you were watching the Panthers and Bucks play their games side by side this afternoon, man, were you on a roller coaster. Both games kicked off around 1. Both had to frustrate Panther fans to no end. We'll start with Tampa. They were at one point good this year. Now they're not. Back in the second quarter, they were having all sorts of problems. Miami, who was leading 17-7 at the break. While that was happening, Carolina was holding its own against the best team in the NFC. The Panthers and Seahawks were actually tied at 3 going into the second half. Remember, a win would have clinched the division for Carolina over Tampa, but that never happened. In the third quarter, Carolina suffered a major meltdown. Right after they picked off Sam Darnold, Chuba Hubbard fumbled the ball. It would lead to a touchdown. Seahawks led 10-3. Next drive for the Panthers, they looked to respond, but look what happened. Bryce Young throwing, he's going to get picked off. Julian Love with the interception. Seattle getting it back in Carolina territory, and they would cash in moments later. Darnold, 1 touchdown pass on the day. It happened on this 17-yard strike to A.J. Barner. 14 straight from the Seahawks. They were up 17-3 going into the fourth. Panthers would go on to lose this one 27-10. And if that weren't bad enough, the Bucks lost to the Dolphins 20-17. So a lost opportunity for the Panthers, and now it all comes down to next week. Win that game, the division is Carolina's. After an up-and-down season, maybe it's only fitting it ends that way. For more on what happened, though, today at the bank, we send it back out to Gabe and Gio. There was a time when chaos was the norm for defenses all across the NFL.
Everybody, all 11, looking at the sideline and getting the calls.
Communication breakdowns were the norm, and offenses ran wild.
Pass wide open.
That is, until the league decided to level the playing field.
When we got the green dot in 2008, it just made so many of those things simpler.
The green dot that Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero is talking about is the logo found on the helmet of one of his players. Typically, it's the middle linebacker that wears it.
They're in the middle of the defense.
And that's why they've got the radio in their helmet, allowing crucial information to be streamlined from the sideline.
Starts off with the calls, obviously, and I mean, that could be the front, the coverage, any alerts, checks we have, and then he might say, like, hey, tell so-and-so this and tell so-and-so that. He's usually pretty good about not having too many things.
Inside the headset,
the player hears this. The sound is pretty clear, but when you have tens of thousands of screaming fans, it can get a little challenging.
Sometimes it is hard to hear, so you see the guys cover up their ears or whatever to hear it.
Communication is a one-way street, meaning coaches can talk to the player, but not the other way around.
I don't want to hear what they have to say.
That's because there's quite a bit of hurry-up involved. Instructions start once the play clock begins. Once it reaches 15 seconds,
it just goes up beep, 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 and then it's off.
From there, it's the responsibility of the person with the green dot to pass along the information to the other players on the field.
If you don't get the call to the guys, the offense ain't waiting for you to get the call.
As you can imagine, it can get pretty stressful.
Quick pass to get that and then some.
Then again,
for a couple of years there when the offense had and the defense didn't, there was a big, in my opinion, competitive advantage for them.
It is better than the alternative.
All right, we're set. Lock and loop, kick off live.